The Madlions MAD 60HE has to be the most requested keyboard on the channel. Under almost every video there was at least one person asking me to test it for performance and accuracy. And today it's finally happening. We'll see what's inside the box, do accuracy and performance tests, and assess the overall value of the keyboard. Before we start, I have a personal request. If you're not yet subscribed, please consider doing so, as it really helps this channel grow and allows me to provide tests like this. If you're already subscribed, a big thank you for your continued support. Moving on to unboxing now. Inside you will find the keyboard in a 60% layout, meaning there are no dedicated arrow or function keys. If you want arrow keys, you can opt for the 68% layout. Apart from that, there's also a USB-C cable and a combined keycap key switch removal tool. There are no extra keycaps or switches, but for a budget-oriented keyboard, that's acceptable. There are many versions of this keyboard, mostly featuring different switches and different polling rates. The one I have here is the Pro version, which is slightly more expensive than the others and uses 8000 Hz polling rate. The cheapest variant is the non-RGB version, which often sells for under $50. The design of the keyboard is strikingly similar to the Wooting. Visually, the only difference is the logo. Both have the same lip at the front, a detachable ribbon on the side, and from a distance it's hard to tell the two apart. Build quality is decent, especially considering the price. The keycaps are PBT with non-transparent legends. The switch plate is aluminum on all versions with 2 layers of sound dampening. The Pro version uses magnetic bow shaft Pro switches, which should provide more stability because of the slightly larger stem. The LED lighting is good enough, vibrant colors and plenty of effects you can adjust to your liking. The LEDs are south-facing. Overall, the build is decent, but the keyboard is quite loud, so let's listen to it. I'm not a fan of the sound profile, but at this price point it's acceptable. You can definitely make it sound better by adding better dampening materials. Moving on to precision. I tested it the same way I test every keyboard, using my trusty micrometer to measure precise movements. I set the actuation point to 1 mm and the rapid trigger sensitivity to 0.12 mm, as is the closest to my usual 0.1 mm. The dead zone was set to 0.1 mm. With these settings, the keyboard was flawless. No odd behavior at the actuation point and no issues with the rapid trigger. All the settings were accurately reflected in real-world use, something not many budget rapid trigger keyboards can achieve. What about performance? Let me briefly explain my testing method. I use a Sony RX100 Mark VII camera, recording at 1000 frames per second pointed at the keyboard with my 240Hz OLED screen in the background running Overwatch. The control key is assigned to scope in. I then measure the time it takes for the scope to deactivate on screen after releasing the key. Each frame is 1 millisecond. While this does include total system latency, I'm mainly comparing different keyboards using the same setup, which makes the result reliable. The keyboard settings stayed the same as in the accuracy test. When it comes to Madlions MAD 60HE, the results are really impressive. It's not quite as fast as the Wooting, but it's close, at a fraction of the price. The average delay I measured was 24.5 milliseconds with a minimum of 17 milliseconds and a maximum of 30 milliseconds. That's just 4 milliseconds slower than the Wooting and costs about a quarter of the price. This is an impressive outcome that shows how far analog tech has come. As for the software, it's browser-based and I was really impressed by its quality. The user interface is clean, modern and easy to use, letting you adjust the most important settings. You can reassign keys, change RGB settings, record macros and, crucially, set the actuation and rapid trigger sensitivity. However, I wasn't able to find any settings related to SnapTap, so I think it's safe to assume this keyboard doesn't support it. It's time to wrap things up. I can see why everyone was so excited about this keyboard. It's a great blend of affordability and speed. If you're on a budget and looking for a decent, fast, rapid trigger keyboard that remains stable even with sensitive settings, this is one of the best choices right now. The only drawback I see is how loud it is, but it's something you can fix on your own with minimal effort. If you're planning to buy this keyboard, I've provided affiliate links in the description which help the channel grow, but honestly I'm just grateful you're watching my videos. That's it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching and I'll see you in the next one.